The Underbows.
Check. Oh, man, that's me. That's super loud. Yeah. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, 1, 2.
Yeah. Give me another one.
Hell yeah.
Ooh. My goodness. One more.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. We're ready. Okay. So, this is how it starts. This is the show. The show has begun.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
I'm Dave Simon.
I'm Joseph Fitzmaurice, a.k.a. Green something or other.
Are we not doing that? Like, what is the deal? What is the deal with that?
Hey,
because
we're here to talk about New Japan Wrestling. We're not here to talk about me.
no, we're also here to talk about you. This is a pro wrestling podcast, but we don't have a title for it yet. And we don't know what the name of the show is.
Okay.
I don't know what to call you on the show.
Okay. Call me Mr.
Mr. Mr. What exactly? Mr. Ass?
You can
Can
call
I
me,
go with Mr. Ass?
I am an ass man.
Okay.
I've been told that, but no, you can call me Mr. Fitzmaurice. You can call me Mr. Joseph. You can call me Mr. Green. You can call me Mr. Phantom if you want as well.
Okay.
Or Sir.
Can I call you Mr. Green Phantom altogether?
Sure.
Okay. Because I think that would help just kind of right off the bat, people would know who you are.
But when you talk to me like that, or like when you call me that, I might have to change my voice slightly.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Can I call you Joseph?
That works for here, brother.
Okay. So we're here to talk about professional wrestling. We're going to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. We'll probably drift off into Ring of Honor Pro Wrestling.
We've already drifted off, brother.
Yeah, I mean, we're already drifting way off, right? Can we talk about what's going on with you right now? Let's start that. Let's start at the beginning a little bit.
At the beginning, I was born.
No, but this is your show. You know what I mean?
Wow.
This is going out to the
I can't
wrestling.
believe you just said that.
The
It's my
wrestling
show.
uncensored universe.
Well, Green Phantom. If you really want to know, Green Phantom's been on the shelf, at least from the ring shelf for a while. I've been doing other events like comedy and different shows and stuff. Last week or a couple weeks ago, I was RVD's manager. Example.
That's pretty awesome.
Just because I just had a knee operation, and I'm hoping to get back in the ring July. I'm hoping maybe late June.
Okay,
we'll see. So as far as wrestling goes, I'm on hold, but I still quite involved with my character. Because I love Green Phantom and getting with the green. So I still try to keep that open. And the next IWS show, April 28th. Club Unity, the British Strong Style is coming to town. Pete Dunne and all his buddies will be there, and I'm sure I'll find something to do on that show.
WWE UK champion Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
You got to mention that as well, right?
Yeah.
You gotta throw that in there.
I figure whoever's listening to this should know that. But maybe not.
People know, but you got to mention it as well because WWE doesn't put him out there that much.
And that's why you're the host, brother, and that's why I think this is your show.
How long has the Green Phantom character been going on? Like, how long have you been doing that?
About 18, 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been an evolution over time too. I'm very different than I was 19 years ago, even 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. I'm quite different.
I'm sure even 2 years ago. Things change over time, right?
They do. But yeah, I guess less so in 2 years, just because I feel like I haven't wrestled right now in a year.
Right.
But yeah, it's. I mean, like any art form, it should be constantly evolving. You have a certain base style, but it's always evolving. You find new things. You change as a human, so your character changes as well.
Of course,
because it really is a reflection. In some, I mean, any good character anyway is a reflection somewhat of the person portraying it.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot of good characters in pro wrestling today. I think we're seeing a lot of good wrestlers around the world. A lot of people are, kind of stuck on the WWE, stuck with what they see on TV all the time. But I'm starting to branch out, watching a lot of New Japan. Of course, indie wrestling all over the place. There are promotions everywhere in the world with some really solid characters. And I think this show is going to help expose some of those characters to the wrestling uncensored world.
Yeah, that'd be cool because there is tons of characters. I mean, even with myself, you hear the name Green Phantom, it sounds kind of hokey. And even my reputation is not as a mat technician expert. It's more of a power move, maybe even a hardcore deathmatch guy, even though I hate being pigeonholed in any of that. But it's more than that. It's the character that comes through when you hear a promo or see me in the ring, John at the crowd or whatever. It's just the whole thing, you know. And if you come to most indie shows, especially the IWS, you will see some of these great, unique characters come to life, which is great. And that's why I've fell in love with New Japan, because there's guys like Chris Jericho and Naito and stuff that have these awesome characters. And,
that's it.
Kenny Omega, you know,
yeah.
Amazing.
It's really incredible what especially New Japan. I think we're going to focus on New Japan on this show, but some of the guys over there, the stories that they're telling over long periods of time, and not just the stories, but combined with the physicality, the athleticism, just the wrestling is at such a high level in New Japan right now. It might be unparalleled. Like, when is the last time you have seen a concentration of this level of professional wrestling, like in the history of the wrestling business? It feels like the Attitude Era again.
It does,
but in New Japan.
But they're taking it, I would say, to even more of an extreme, just because, I mean, you see the matches that Ospreay and these guys, Omega and stuff, they're having. They're hard. They're hard to do. Like, it isn't. I'm not just talking about athletics, because that's definitely part of it. Because they're doing top rope moves all the time and whatnot. But the punishment they take, it's very real. There's a reason why Nakamura here in WWE, he's changed so much. Now he's, they still call him strong style, but when you look at it, it's not strong style anymore. It's quite soft in the sense. I mean, I still, don't get me wrong, I love it and I love him. And I think he's an enigma, and he makes me want to watch all the time. Mm-hmm. But if you saw him in New Japan, his knee strikes, they were knee strikes. Here in WWE. Here in WWE, I don't know why I said that.
Well, because it does feel like it's here, right?
It's North America.
That's it.
It's North America. So they're like, because of different elements of the wellness policy and whatever, like just so they don't get hurt and stuff. His what's his finishing move called? What is it called?
Kinshasa.
Kinshasa.
It was the Bombaye in Japan.
Exactly. It's very light. He gives like a good thigh. A thigh to the side of the head, sort of, more to the shoulder or whatever. It's it's very, very soft. I mean, it still looks good with their nice camera angles, because WWE is expert at that, of cutting right at the right moment and stuff like that.
Yeah, they cut right at the moment of impact.
Yeah, so that impact looks greater. In New Japan, these impacts are greater because they're I don't like saying this, but it's like it's more real in that sense.
Well, it seems like they're really hitting each other.
Yeah, but there's a side effect to that. We love to watch it, but I mean, there's guys who are on the shelf because of it, or their careers might not last as long as you might like. Maybe.
Well, that's the thing. We say that, but people were saying that about Jeff Hardy in 1999.
True.
And look at him now.
Yeah.
Look at Rob Van Dam. You just saw him work the other day, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
He was great.
How did he look?
He looked amazing.
And people, when Rob Van Dam was having crazy matches with Jerry Lynn and all those guys in ECW, people were saying, "Oh, this guy, he's going to last 5 years, and then that'll be his career. Yeah. He's going to break his back."
Yeah, he's. I think Rob is a different bird as well. Like, he's not a traditionalist in the way he's taking care of his body and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's a wonder to behold. But there's guys. I guess it's like any sport. Some guys can tough it out. And like Shibata recently, he's one of those strong stylers, and he's out now. Will he ever wrestle again? I don't know. I
don't think so.
Daniel Bryan, again, one of those guys. When the indie scene, in ROH and stuff, he went through some hell of matches.
Yeah,
and he was out and he was lucky enough to be able to stay involved in wrestling for as long as he did without actually wrestling.
Yeah, and now he's coming back somehow. and we'll see how long that lasts, right? But then it's a WWE style, and you can get away with a lighter way of wrestling in the WWE.
Yeah, it seems if you want to extend your career, you want to go to WWE. You know, like even like Rami and Kevin, you know, in WWE, they've changed tremendously. I mean, it's great to see their characters evolve. It's all every time I see them, I'm so proud, and I love to see them. But you can see their workload is. I mean, even though they're working more nights a week, their matches aren't nearly as physically taxing. You know, which is I'm happy for them. You know, it's a good thing.
And do you think that's why their matches aren't as physically taxing, because they do have to work more nights a week? Like, is that really the reason why
100%.
New Japan, they're just able to do the matches that they're able to do because they wrestle maybe once or twice a week or 3 times a week, depending on the week?
Well, it's all part of it, you know. There's different philosophies, and they all interject at some point, you know. It's like I know that sometimes, again, Rami and Kevin or whatever, even other stars, they want to do, like here in W, they want to do things, but they're not allowed, you know, for various reasons. So the company doesn't like when their stars are hurt because they have to pay them, you know, to be hurt. So it's a money issue. And to some degree, there is people that actually do care. It's not necessarily just about the bottom line. There is people that do actually care for the well-being of their employees, you know, and we always hope that, you know, your boss cares about your well-being. So in that sense, you can understand where WWE is coming from, where it doesn't want people getting power bombed all the time, or pile driver is not allowed, these type of things.
Yeah.
You know, where Kevin had his package pile driver, that was his move, right? He wants to do it. They're not allowed, you know.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. So, but in New Japan, because they're not WWE, I think that's also part of it. Because they're not number one. Because they're not number one, they have to do something to get out of there, you know, and that's really how the Attitude Era started as well. You know, they weren't number one anymore. So what do you do to spark it? You know, you got to change something up, do something different, do something extreme or something. You know, so as we're talking about, a lot of the matches, actually most matches in New Japan that I see, I would consider that extreme wrestling.
Yeah,
because you have tons of moves. Tons of kickouts, tons of hard bumps. You know, it can be brutal. So
yeah, but it's certainly entertaining, right? It's a lot of fun to watch, and when you compare it to watching WWE, it's just so much better.
Yeah,
it's just so much more fun to watch. You watch the
exciting.
wrestling in WWE, and it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, but again, I feel bad, but at the same time, I mean, I've put myself through some hell, so I get it, you know, but I don't want really people to get hurt. That's kind of why I like wrestling way more than UFC. I like wrestling way more than UFC because there's an element. I always found it more psychologically advanced, emotionally advanced when you have people who are killing each other versus people who are pretending to kill each other.
Right.
I think as a humane society, the pretending to kill each other is where it should be at instead of actually hurting each other. And that's why I always like wrestling more than something like UFC or boxing, because the show of it, he's not actually trying to hurt him, that whole thing, you know. Maybe I'm just too much of a hippie, but you know, I really believe that, you know.
I think this is why you need to get into jiu-jitsu. So you can see that jiu-jitsu is not about hurting anybody. It's just about applying your technique and finishing somebody and putting them in a position where they can't hurt you or defend themselves.
Yeah, but a guy
like Damian Maia, you know, his whole goal going into a fight is not to hurt his opponent. He just wants to finish it as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I get that, you know, but I say this at the same time. I'm someone who gets great pleasure out of breaking a chair over someone's head, you know. So and also getting a chair broken over my head. So you know, it's a weird dichotomy. I mean,
what do you think about WWE not allowing any kind of headshots anymore? No headshots. You can't get hit in the head. And to me, when you're trying to do a staged combat, you'd want to hit somebody in the head. That's where you want to hit somebody. That's the money spot.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to this whole concussion thing. It's a really crazy thing, and in the way that some people are affected more than others, but it really takes one shot to really mess you up. You know, I've been knocked out a few times. I know I've had concussions, but I'm not stopping that sort of thing. But again, it isn't my main job. So I come from a different place, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to get hit in the head every day. But what I don't like, but I still understand, is why not even at WrestleMania,
right.
get a chair shot.
Why not ever? Like, I understand not all the time, but once in a while when it calls for it, just like blood. It's not a bad idea.
I agree. I'm a blood and guts guy, so I want to see more of that. But again, I understand because I'm not the one whose body's on the line for their job,
Well, thankfully, we got a lot of that kind of stuff in New Japan. And, it seems like the WWE is trying to take a lot of that by taking a lot of the top guys from New Japan, like Nakamura, like AJ Styles, like Finn Balor, like Gallows and Anderson, right? They took a lot of their top guys, brought them over, but it doesn't quite translate. And I find myself seeing these guys and thinking, it'd be fun if they were in Japan right now because their matches would be more fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think some of them, that's a big issue on the indie scene like guys who want to go to WWE and who are scouted, if you will, but they're not sure what's going to happen with their character when they get there. They don't want to become a jobber per se. That's the whole reason Cody Rhodes left, right? Because he wanted to be able to express himself with his wrestling.
And look at him now.
Yeah.
If he were to go back, he'd be a huge star.
Yeah. But some guys, it's like they have that leverage, but other guys don't. And if your main goal is to make WWE, and I think if you're in wrestling, that's really at some point has to be your goal to, let's say, wrestle at WrestleMania or something like that. I don't care who you are. That would be the ultimate goal. It's like if someone plays hockey and oh no, I never dreamed of winning the Stanley Cup. Like, it doesn't make sense. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So, but there's tons of talented wrestlers out there, and not everyone's going to be champion. So there's tons of people in there who knows. Like, I'm so happy. I keep coming back to Rami and Kevin. They didn't get buried. Their characters were able to shine, especially Kevin with his title run and whatnot. But these things it's a very ebb and flow thing. It's very up and down, and through the history, you have to be good and lucky. Like Kevin, to have his championship reign, Finn Balor had to get hurt, and then he had to step in and be the man. And it's like a lot of things have to happen. It's interesting. I love this wrestling stuff.
Yeah, man, wrestling is the best, right? Wrestling, I think, is a reason why we get up in the morning for a lot of us, right?
It's like realer than reality. I'm telling you.
That's it. And you keep mentioning Rami and Kevin. We should tell everybody that's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Sami Zayn.
You know those guys,
and Kevin
right?
Owens. Yeah.
I've seen them talk about you before.
They've talked about me before
in interviews. Yeah.
Sometimes it isn't too flattering talk. Again, I'm not known as a technical masterpiece there in the ring.
But what do you think? Like, look at Kevin, what he's done. Like you mentioned, a title run. He beat up Vince McMahon on TV.
Beautiful.
He wrestled Goldberg on pay-per-view. He had a Hell in a Cell with Shane. And now he's going in to team with Sammy to take on Daniel Bryan in his big return match and Shane McMahon in this big WrestleMania tag team match. I mean, it's kind of crazy where he's come from and how far the things that he's done so far in his career. Hasn't even been that long in the WWE, and you list the accomplishments there. It's like, wow, he's kind of done some crazy stuff.
I say it all the time. He's the best, man. I mean, he really is. He's so the best. I mean, he's done everything, and he's done it his way, and he's always found a way to do it his way. Obviously he has bosses, obviously, but he's always strived, to since the day I met him, he was like, I'm going to be in WWE. And people say things, but years later, no matter what the cost, he would pay it to do what he's doing, and that's what you need. A lot of talented guys out there, but not too many guys have the the determination and like determination of 15 years, or more. That's a long haul. It's a long haul.
Yeah, and he's definitely earned his way in there, and it's cool to see him there. I like watching him. He's fantastic. I was watching him for years before, and now to finally see him on that kind of stage, it's almost surreal sometimes.
It got me back into wrestling. I mean, the whole, as you called it, it's almost like an attitude era in Japan or on the indie scene, and WWE tried to take a little bit of that with signing Rami and Kevin and AJ and Nakamura, and Gallows and stuff. And so these, they're changing wrestling in a way,
Yeah, I think they definitely are. You look at AJ Styles, the WWE champion.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, and Kevin was for a while too. Kevin has he's had the Intercontinental, US, and the Universal.
Universal,
yeah. So I'm sure if he stays healthy by the end of his career, he's going to have all of them. He'll be a Jericho for sure.
Tag team titles with Sammy at some point
for sure. That'd be a dream. They'd cry. I think.
Would they? Cool. Yeah.
I mean, just think they're like the best of friends.
What do you think it means for them to
it's
tag?
Real, just like I said before, it's realer than real. If they end up winning the tag team titles, and I'm sure they will eventually, it's realer than real. Like it's really cool. And
what do you think it means for them to tag at WrestleMania together?
It's dreams. Dreams are
crazy, right?
Dreams. That's why I love watching them so much. When you see them wrestle every time on WWE, I know that a dream of theirs is coming true, and that is cool to watch. Like, oh look, a dream coming true. Oh look, a dream coming true. Oh look, a dream coming true.
Yeah,
it's like
every night.
Yeah, every damn night. There's a dream coming true, and I feel so proud of them, and they worked so hard. There's obviously at some point a bit of envy, and maybe even a tad jealousy, but it's not. They worked for it and deserve it so much. It's all I can say. Definitely way more than me, that's for sure.
But I don't know about that. Like that's the thing about pro wrestling, and that's the thing about show business in general. There are a lot of guys out there that could have made it in the same spot. They have the talent, they have the charisma, they have the size, they have everything, but for one reason or another, this other guy's in WWE and this guy isn't in WWE, and it's sometimes like it doesn't always make sense. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't always. It's not because of talent. It's because of a lucky break here or there, or timing, or what I mean?
There's a lot of things, and that's why again I say wrestling is realer than real, because it's not just the athletics, right? Like in hockey, the best player is the one who scores the most goals, or
of course.
In football, the guy is the best, he scores the most touchdowns, whatever. In
wrestling,
it's not, he was the best, like Goldberg is the best because he won all the time. It's not like that.
That's it. Pro wrestling is not merit-based.
Yeah, but it is. It's just
not always, though.
The audience who are giving the merit aren't public. Right, it's like figure skating example. There's a point system. Right? There's judges, and you can see it on the bottom of the screen. When someone's wrestling, there's judges, but you just don't see it on the bottom of the screen.
There's also no set criteria.
Well, again, it depends. The person doing the judging. Like a Vince McMahon,
yeah.
he has criteria. Trust me.
But you got to know that criteria going in, and not everybody does.
Well, a lot of people don't, because there's so many different things. Because unlike, again, hockey or something, there's a personal relationship aspect that is part of the criteria as well. Like when he meets you, if he doesn't like you, no matter how good you are, if he doesn't like you, you're not going to get it.
That's right.
So there's a multiple. I wouldn't say there's no criteria. There's just so many, and it transcends what you see on TV, and that's where wrestling is so special. So that there is a judging system, but it's hidden from the fans, and that's why you have to do a lot of things to get there, as well as be lucky, and as well as be in the right place at the right time. It's like. I've no doubt because of how good he is, Kevin would have won that heavyweight belt at some point. But when it happened, he was there. You know, like he was at the right place at the right time. You know, sure it was going to happen further down the line, but because of who he is, because he worked for 15 years, because he had this strong character, because he was so skilled, because he had good ideas, because people liked him backstage, because all these factors, that's why he became the champion.
But you could also say that had it not been for CM Punk and Daniel Bryan making such an impact in the WWE would have never even started looking for guys like Sammy or Kevin Owens, and they would have never got a shot, because in the old days of WWE, guys like Sammy and Kevin, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Nakamura, they're not getting a shot.
Yeah, they're all too small.
They're too small for Dave Bautista and Bobby Lashley. Remember those guys?
Yeah, I do.
You know, they're not Randy Orton. They're not John Cena.
No, they're Drax and the Marine or something.
Yeah, right.
That's who they are.
So it's hard to tell what is going to work with, you know, one wrestling company or another. But I feel like in New Japan, a lot of this stuff is more merit-based than the WWE, because you watch the WWE and you see great performances, and then that doesn't always translate to the big push to the top of the card. Where you watch New Japan, the top of the card makes a lot of sense. Kazuchika Okada is the world champion, and he delivers every time.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah, and the Cody and Omega and all the Bullet Club stuff.
Yeah, Ibushi,
it's
the Young
amazing.
Bucks, they're very good. Like for example, Will Ospreay is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Had an incredible match at Sakura Genesis on the weekend with Marty Scurll.
That was an amazing match.
Who are the WWE's mid-card champions?
Dude, I don't even know.
You know, it's the Miz. If WWE was merit-based, the Miz would never be a champion.
Yeah, it's a very but the Miz.
Well, it's a promo-based product, so he does
stuff. He's worked hard.
Yeah, but just because you work hard,
he hasn't necessarily worked on the indie scene, but he's worked hard. You know.
Do you have any Miz classic matches that you'd like to rewatch with me right now?
No,
No.
Like you said, it's promo based, so you know he really came out of his shell. I like some of it, you know, recent with that Daniel Bryan promo there.
Yeah, he had some good stuff with Cena last year before Mania.
Yeah,
but overall,
yeah, it's not exciting wrestling. I mean,
he's not Will Ospreay.
No, definitely not. But even Will Ospreay has had some issues. You know, he, sometimes, although not anymore, I think the Miz looks better. You know. You know, but maybe that's changing, because Will Ospreay is definitely maturing.
Do people watch wrestling to look at handsome dudes?
Well, it's a big deal.
I don't.
It's like but again, it's a different era. When I had my WWE tryout, it was all about the looks. It was all about the looks, all about how a guy looked. It was the steroid era, really. You know,
right?
That's when Masters and all these people came in, and they were just
right.
And I wasn't in that gang, so among other things, that was definitely a setback for me.
But again, timing. You see, if you had come along when Kevin and Sammy came along, you'd be in NXT right now. It'd be a totally different story.
Well, it's funny.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a timing issue a lot of times.
I really appreciate you say that, but I think some of your listeners might disagree, in the sense that
I don't think they would.
In the sense that, you know, some people like I have some really hardcore fans, you know, who think I'm like really awesome, and I love that, and sometimes I think I'm awesome too, you know. But there's other times where there's people think I'm the shits, and you know, I would say they're both wrong. I'm somewhere in the middle, or they're both right, and I'm still somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? I know I'm not perfect, and you know, but I definitely what I bring to the table is a lot of energy, a good character, and some cool moves. You know, some hardcore justice, as someone might say. You know? Yeah. But you know, would that work in NXT? I don't know, man. I think I could, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that think it wouldn't work.
They make you take off the mask, like they made Sammy take off the mask.
Yeah, and which would make sense, because I'm a good-looking guy, and I'm not just saying that because to be a dick. I'm saying that because a lot of people have. I'm 41 years old now. I am in some of the best shape of my life, besides my knee, but still, a lot of people have told me, throughout my life how photogenic I am. Like even guys like Kevin Nash or whoever else, these big time stars, Sid and whatnot. They're like when they find out I wear a mask, they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, doesn't make sense because they're like, you have this face like, what's his name? I was chilling in the locker room with Ultimo Dragon. And we were just hanging out and we're talking baseball and stuff, and we're both getting ready for our matches. And he like puts on his mask, and I put on my mask, and he took off his mask, and he looked at me like shocked. He's like, "What are you doing? Why do you have a mask? You look like a Hollywood star," And I'm like,
my God.
I like, thank you, But Kevin Nash did the same thing when he found out I wore a mask. He's like, "That's stupid. Like it's the dumbest thing." But it just kind of fell into it in my early part of my career, and now
when Kevin Nash says that to you, do you start to rethink?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
I rethought.
I mean,
it's
Kevin Nash. He's made a lot of money in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
He knows a thing or two.
Yeah. So
and he's big sexy. If big sexy is saying that you're a handsome
sexy
guy, that means something.
Yeah. So I felt it's too late to change my gimmick. I thought maybe taking it off at some point. I'm not against that. In different things on YouTube, you can see my face, so it's fine. But
have you ever wrestled without the mask? Like, have you ever done a separate character?
I've in IWS. I've been a commissioner a couple times. How would I say? Sexually frustrated Commissioner Fitzmaurice. That was my name was, and on a couple of shows on the indie scene, I wrestled as JL Fitzmaurice, which would be my real name, my first initials, Joseph Lawrence Fitzmaurice. Anyway, but yeah.
not for extended periods.
Yeah, but I won a belt, but whatever. I did that when I knew I was going to get my WWE tryout, so I tried to wrestle without a mask, and it just seems like in IWS or various places, I'm really over. The character's really over.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to mess with that. I'm sure it would work fine without a mask. I don't know. I'm stuck with it. The Green Phantom chose me. I didn't choose it. Get with the green is my destiny. It's not something I chose.
I saw a picture of you recently at a baseball game. You were wearing a baseball jersey, an Expos jersey, and the mask.
Oh, Green Phantom, yeah.
Did you wear the mask for the whole game?
No, I try to. I still want to enjoy my life as me, but I try to for the social media game. Try to just have Green Phantom at different places, and
it's good.
A really cool big event like that. I just have the mask in my pocket, so I just pull it out and.
I think you're the most visible pro wrestler in Montreal. I don't think anybody is more well known in the city than you are.
I appreciate you saying that. I try to be visible. I do.
Who's more visible, Jeremy Prophet? Come on, man.
I don't know. Well, definitely not, because I have a good relationship with TSN. I always do the parades. I do different things around the city. I do comedy. I do trivia. I do other things as Green Phantom. So. I guess I try to be. I thank you, man.
You are.
Appreciate that.
You don't have to thank me. It's just a fact. Johnny North is coming up pretty strong, though.
Yeah. He's on your show now.
Yeah, he's been on the show for many years now. I've built up a huge audience.
I've seen him on the indie scene a few times. In fact, we've shared tag belts for a while.
Yes, I remember
different
that.
Promotions. I have a nice scar on my forehead because of him.
He's rough in the ring, right? Let's talk about wrestling Johnny North. I don't think we've ever had one of his opponents.
It's like a bump on my forehead.
That's from Johnny North.
That's from Johnny North's head. He headbutted me right in the forehead, trying to give me a Luthez press.
What's he like in the ring?
He's a strong big man. He's a strong big man. So I always had fun wrestling him. I think we've had a whole bunch of matches together. I think we've given each other all of our moves and done a bunch of stuff, and he has tremendous respect for me, so I have respect for him, and it's cool. Genesis, Jenna North.
He's always down to do whatever in a match. He seems like the way he puts it to us, anyways. He's always saying, I wanted to do this, and then he always
Well,
seems like
he
he's
really
willing
loves
to,
wrestling.
Yeah, that's it. He's willing to give himself to the match.
He really loves wrestling, and that's one of the things I love about him is that he's one of those guys that loves this game we play, and because of that, like any game you play, any sport you do, if you want to do it to the best of your abilities, you know. So he's been dedicated forever in the gym, which I appreciate a lot. A lot of people don't do that enough on the indie scene. Johnny North, Genesis, is one of the best shaped guys in indie wrestling, and probably in Canada. You know, honestly,
he's pretty jacked. You look around. I went to a show the other night, and Johnny North was on it, and he was one of the most jacked guys on the show.
I like when people look like wrestlers. I hate to agree with like someone like Jim Cornette or something, but I like when people look like wrestlers. Not to say that if you don't look like a wrestler, you can't do it, because there is always exceptions. You know, there's always exceptions, but definitely, I think it adds to the show, especially a live show. If you see someone that's like, oh my god, they don't look like me, or they don't look like their average Joe. This guy looks like something else. You know,
it looks like somebody you'd want to buy a ticket and see.
Yeah, and that's what I've always been. I think that's what will always be Johnny North's strength, among other things. You know, and even Green Phantom as well. Is that when we come through the curtain, you look at, oh look, there's some wrestlers there. Like they're gonna mess stuff up.
That's it. It's obvious when you walk through what you guys are. You know, like when you walk into a room, it's like, oh, what are you, a wrestler or something? People figure that out pretty quickly. We should talk about some New Japan as well, as that was kind of the point of this whole thing.
Yeah, the Omega match, the Young Bucks.
That's right. The Golden Lovers. They're officially called the Golden Lovers.
Yeah.
Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. They were a tag team for a long time in the DDT promotion, and they went over to New Japan, and they were a tag team. They broke up for a while. They recently got back together. Yeah. Are they friends? Are they more than friends?
Oh, it
doesn't really matter.
They're lovers, brother.
Well, they're golden lovers.
They're lovers. And I love to me, it's the best storyline in wrestling, because they've added layers to it. You know, like even with their latest match, not both Bucks don't like Kenny. You know, like half of them like him, and during the match, Kenny is trying to not hurt them. He's trying to help one of them, you know, because his neck is hurt or something.
His back. It's Matt Jackson.
Yeah.
Matt Jackson's back is hurt, and Nick seemed to be kind of down with Kenny at the end of the match, but Matt was kind of turning his back on him, maybe siding with Cody. But now, if you watch the Being the Elite show, which I recommend for everybody to watch, as it really does help you kind of follow along in the storylines, because they don't do a lot of promos on these shows.
No.
So you watch the Being the Elite, and it's just a promo package type thing, and it's like a reality series almost on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And
I actually filmed a segment for them when they were in Montreal.
Really?
Because I was driving them around, and they wanted to meet up with Rami and Kevin, and so they filmed a couple of Being in the Elites things. So you look back, I don't forget when that was, but anyway.
So you were driving around the Young Bucks?
Yeah, because they wrestled for the IWS there, and it's actually how I got to meet AJ too, because they were in town at the same time. WWE was doing a show. Manny, PCP Crazy Manny, the owner and founder of the IWS, he was really proud to say that he sold out his venue on the night WWE was in town.
Well, that's pretty good.
I thought was pretty good. You know?
That's something to be proud of.
I mean, it was only 500 people or whatever, but still, that's a lot for an indie show. It's very cool, and especially since Rami and Kevin were the ones too down the street. You know, it's pretty intense.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
So. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you filmed a Being the you were
just this
part
segment.
of the staff.
There was one
the
Kevin was walking by, and there's one that they filmed.
I saw that one. I remember that
they filmed something with Rami, with him being a waiter or something. I'm not sure if they used that one though, but anyway, it was funny. But I'm lucky. Like I'm lucky with being involved with IWS, because I get to hang out with these dudes. You know, like I said, you know, the Young Bucks were never my idols, but I because they're younger than me in that sense, but you know, I've always liked to watch them. But being involved in the business, I've been able to be, you know, chill with, let's say, two of my idols. Let's say Sabu and RVD. You know, RVD was definitely recently a bucket list, and you know, hanging out with Sabu, same thing. Like he totally inspired me. You know, so hanging and bagging with him was pretty cool, man.
Oh, you've hung out with a lot of
right,
like pretty much everybody out there. And you've wrestled a lot of them too.
Just having a car, or not a decent car has helped me in that regard because. Manny will be like, oh, can you pick up Kevin Nash at the airport? Can you pick up Sid at the airport? Can you pick up Young Bucks? Can you pick up Sabu? And you pick up RVD? And sometimes I'm working them, so it's even cooler. But sometimes I'm just chilling with them, driver.
What's your favorite big name match that you had?
That I had?
Yeah,
I thought we were talking New Japan, man.
Yeah, well, we were, but I mean, you brought it back to yourself again, so
sorry, I
don't want to
put
yourself over again, man.
I don't want to put myself over again. I want to put over because.
Well, let's talk about the Bucks then. How about this match against the Golden Lovers? It was incredible at Strong Style Evolve. They did it in Long Beach. They brought the whole New Japan crew over to California for one show. They're going to go back, I think, in July in San Francisco. And honestly, I want to go.
In San Fran, eh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
It's going to be a very good show.
Yeah, I mean, Omega to me is obviously this was brought up around in January, but Omega to me is the next Chris Jericho in the sense that he can do it all. I think he has the character to do it. I think he has the brains to do it. I think he's one of those guys though, like the Young Bucks that want to. I think their time is far from WWE just yet because they want to do what they're doing, which is dominate and be on top and be able to do their spiel. Which if they went to WWE and I know there was consultation there, they would get a pay cut for one, and they wouldn't have control or as much control over what they're doing.
Well, that's it. They're making so much money. They're having such great matches. Why go to the WWE? Like you said earlier, the goal at the end for most wrestlers is to do WrestleMania. But is it? Is it anymore? Now that New Japan is so big, now that they can make big money over there, they're selling their T-shirts like crazy, they're having great matches, does the end game really have to be the WWE? And I think New Japan is providing a second option for a lot of guys.
It's true.
Kenny Omega can stay in New Japan, make huge money, and keep doing his thing. There's so much for him to do. The Golden Lovers, they beat the Young Bucks. They just lost at Sakura Genesis to Cody and Hangman Page. But I think they're still going to get a tag team title shot down the road against either Evil and Sanada or the Killer Elite Squad because those two teams are going to wrestle coming up at the end of April for the tag team titles.
Yeah, well, they have nowhere to go but up where they are now. They're just they're just sailing. Same with a guy like Marty Scurll. I think he's one of those guys that hasn't been talked about very much. He's like I don't know, maybe the lesser known Bullet Club guy. Maybe I don't know.
Well, there's so many Bullet Club guys now. They're huge, and the shows they're doing coming up. It's a lot of Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. It's a Bullet Club civil war.
Yeah, it's almost too big. I mean, but it's still interesting. It hasn't fallen apart completely like the NWO did. But every dog has his day, and all good things come to pass. At some point. So it can't be shining forever. But it's cool. But let's get back to the Marty Scurll thing. Like I love his character. I love his talent and his match with Will Ospreay. I'm hoping it's not a tale of one guy going up and one guy going down because Will Ospreay beat him. And it was the first time that's happened. Like Marty Scurll has owned Will Ospreay. He must have beat him 100 times, And the fact that Will Ospreay went over him, I hope. Well, you always hope everyone does well, but not everyone can, right?
Well, that's it. But Scurll's got so much going on. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Ospreay can keep going as the junior heavyweight champion, and he's got some matches to have down the road. I think that he's got a big matchup potentially against Rey Mysterio if Rey decides to come back to New Japan.
I think he will. Because right now
he said he was going to.
Yeah, and when Rey, he's another guy I was able to hang out with. When he came to Montreal. Is what he likes is having control and being able to be with his family. So a WWE right now is not his goal, because that's the schedule is way too much. And who knows what they're going to do with him. So on the indie scene, and it's funny to talk about New Japan as the indie scene.
Yeah.
But because it's so big, when they see stadiums being sold out, it's not really indie anymore.
It's not indie, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just alternative to WWE. Is
yeah, that's
it.
It's a big company.
Yeah.
They happen to have a partnership with Ring of Honor, and I think that's why people kind of still see it as an indie scene, because they see guys like Kenny Omega or Cody, on Ring of Honor shows and on New Japan. But I don't think Cody might work indie matches as well.
Yeah,
but I
does.
think Kenny Omega is like exclusive to New Japan. A lot of these guys in Japan, like Okada, is exclusive to New Japan.
Okay.
Naito, I think maybe Naito can take some indie dates, but it's the type of thing kind of like TNA used to have, where you could rent out like a Samoa Joe or a Kurt Angle, but you have to go through TNA to do it.
Yeah, I don't know specifics of the contracts. I've been dealing with the Young Bucks and stuff, and I know they do indie dates.
Yeah, for sure. But they're independent. But
Cody does too. I saw him. He did something in Quebec City not too long ago, I think. I don't know, I forgot.
But it does provide, it's cool what they're able to do, because they can wrestle on these big shows on this big platform in New Japan. They can do the big shows in Ring of Honor. Cody and Kenny have that match coming up this weekend. It's this weekend, Saturday night. Cody versus Kenny on the Super Card of Honor for Ring of Honor.
Cool.
But that's another thing that I have to subscribe to. It's more money that I have to shell out for professional wrestling. It's like you pay for the WWE Network, you pay for New Japan World.
Doesn't TSN cover any of this?
Are you kidding me?
Jesus, what are you doing with yourself, man?
No, they can't afford it.
Well,
times are tight, man.
They're definitely paying me to do this, man.
They are. Are they paying me to do this? This is not affiliated to TSN at all. This is Wrestling Uncensored.
All right.
This is strictly internet.
Oh, strictly internet. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm out.
Are you disappointed? Are you out now?
Well,
you want to?
I was bleeding my own language. Can I swear and stuff on this?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You didn't notice before? I was like, what this? Anyway.
Yeah, I did notice, but I wanted you to stay polite. I just
well,
I was fucking with you. No, you can say whatever you want. So you saw the Skrull and Ospreay match, and here's the plan going forward. We're gonna get you watching more of this stuff, so we can talk about more of these characters and storylines at length. But I want to preview some shows that they have coming up. They had Sakura Genesis, though, this past weekend, and the champion Okada, he defended the championship for a record 11th time against Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. won the New Japan Cup and earned that title shot. Had a hell of a run in the New Japan Cup. Beat Naito, Kota Ibushi, Sanada, and Tanahashi in the finals.
Well, that's a lot of talent there, man. A lot of talent. It's like
in 2 weeks he beat those 4 guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was pretty impressive, and he had that match with Okada. Have you seen Zack Sabre Jr.? Have you seen his work? He's got an interesting style.
I have, yeah. It's a little bit. It's one of those things I look forward to seeing a little bit more of. He's all hyped. He's hyped up like crazy. So. I'm looking forward to it, I guess.
Yeah, he's very good. He's like a submission type guy. Very, very good. So Okada is the world champion, and he's going to be defending that title against Tanahashi. Tanahashi came out and challenged him. So right now they're tied with 11 title defenses. Okada just tied the record held by Tanahashi. So to break the record, he's going to have to beat Tanahashi one more time.
So yeah, I would love those. That's the Japanese storylines. I love that stuff, that they pay attention to those sort of things. It's really unique and different, and how could I say it? Japanese.
Like the numbers mean something.
They really
the
do.
Title defenses, they don't happen all the time, and when they do, they're very important, and they're treated with a lot of importance. You know,
and it just shows why the style of the post match and pre match promos. It's starting to bring a less Hollywood, if you will, over here, and more like a real, like a promo you'd get from a UFC fighter, or something.
Yeah, the just after the match, and that's the thing with New Japan that's different from the WWE. WWE, you start every show with a promo.
Yeah.
Every show starts with a promo. New Japan, you just have matches, and then at the end, the winners of the main event will do a promo. That's it. That's the only promo you have on the whole show. WWE is a promo-based show. New Japan, and pretty much every other wrestling show, it's a wrestling-based show, right? I mean, IWS is a wrestling-based show, is it not?
It is, for sure. But it's also, I mean, what a good show will have at least some promos. You know, like New Japan, yeah, it is wrestling-based, but you'll always have a good Kenny Omega promo in there, or, you know, something like that.
But at the end.
Yeah.
Only at the end. It's the winner of the main event that gets to talk. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, true enough.
And that's all you really need, because the matches, you know, funnily enough, they tell the stories over there.
Yeah, and it makes those promos a lot more real, too, because you just wrestle a match, and usually, especially in Omega's case or something, a hard match, and then you're trying to cut a good promo. So it in order for it to be good, it has to be real, because you're not going to remember the crappy script, you know, or won't come off as authentic if you just wrestled like an authentic match, if you will, you know. I just did air quotes there.
But in Omega's case, you know, a lot of times he's in Japan and he's cutting promos in Japanese as well.
Yeah.
So it makes it even more tricky when he's having those 6-star matches. Okay, so I want to preview some of these cards coming up at the end of April, and then what we're going to do is we're going to reconvene around then. That's when the next one of these things will go down.
Sure.
All right. What do you think of Wrestling with the Phantom?
As a title?
Yeah.
It's a lot of focus on me, brother.
Well, you're on the show.
Yeah, sure.
You're half the show.
Sure.
You're half the talking.
Sure.
I'm the wrestling. You're the Phantom, right? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll put it out on Twitter. Do you have a Twitter?
Yeah, but I never use it.
Oh, see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You got to get on Twitter. The Wrestling Uncensored universe is focused mostly on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm at Green Phantom 514. I know Mick Foley when I hung out with him, and we went to see the Muppets together, and he tweeted out to Green Phantom tons, but I never even looked at it. I didn't even know. So I'm more of the Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, Instagram. All right, well, we'll plug that then.
But
you got to get on the Twitter.
I have a Twitter account. I don't even know my password. Does someone out there know my password? Tell me.
Oh my goodness! All right, someone hack Green Phantom 514 and then tell us what the password is. Okay, help us out. Wrestling Dontaku is the next New Japan Wrestling Festival. They have 3 nights: April 29th. And then May 3rd and May 4th for Dontaku. So Wrestling Hino Kuni is going to be headlined by Minoru Suzuki, the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, against Tetsuya Naito. So the leader...
He's a tough-looking dude, eh?
Minoru Suzuki?
Yeah.
Not just looking tough, is very tough.
Yeah.
He is one of the most brutal guys in professional wrestling. He's my favorite wrestler. And he's like 50 years old.
Naito, he's the guy who kicked his belt to the ring, right?
That's right.
Yeah. That caught me. The first time I saw it, I'm like, I don't know what it is about that, but it's memorable. And right away, I'm like, this guy's gonna, he's gonna stick out, and he did. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a huge star in Japan. He's the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón. He's got a big faction, and that's another thing that you got to understand about Japanese pro wrestling. Well, at least in New Japan. Pretty much everybody is in a faction over there. They have huge teams, and almost everybody on the roster is a part of one. So you got the Bullet Club, you have Los Ingobernables de Japón, and in that faction you've got, of course, Naito, who's the leader, also the tag team champions, Evil and Sanada. You have Bushi. You have Hiromu. There's a lot of guys in that faction. You have Chaos, which is led by Kazuchika Okada. Will Ospreay is in Chaos. Toru Yano is in Chaos. A lot of guys in Chaos. And then you have Suzuki-gun.
Suzuki-gun.
Suzuki-gun is my favorite because it's led by Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah.
Also, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is in Suzuki-gun.
Yeah.
Lance Archer is in Suzuki-gun. You have any Lance Archer stories?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. You have any D.H. Smith stories?
No.
Harry Smith? Nothing?
Oh, Harry Smith?
Yeah, that's Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was working on a show with him, and nothing too crazy. He's one of those guys, like, it was an indie show. It was mostly kids, so none of these people knew who he was, right? So I felt kind of bad because, you know, it's his job, and he was over here, and you know, kids were kids really wanted to see Green Phantom. They were like, we were both signing autographs at a table, and like there was, let's just say, he wasn't hardly signing any autographs. But he was obviously a bigger star than me. It's just at that time and place, it didn't matter, you know. But he was a cool dude, and he looks so much like his dad. It's crazy.
And he's super jacked now too. Yeah. He's getting into his dad's shape.
His dad's shape?
Not quite there. Not quite there. I don't think. But and Lance Archer, you know who that is? He used to be Lance Hoyt.
Yeah, no, I never crossed paths. I might have at an indie booking, but I really don't remember.
So they're the Killer Elite Squad. They used to be the tag team champions, and they are getting a rematch against Evil and Sanada. And I don't know if you know who those guys are, but they're pretty good.
Yeah, I'd have to see their face.
Well, we'll watch more of these guys, but Evil and Sanada are very good. Sanada got a singles push recently, while Evil was out with an injury. He actually broke his orbital, and he just came back. I don't know about that match. I think that Evil and Sanada probably retain their tag titles. As for Suzuki and Naito, that match is going to be crazy.
Have you seen Suzuki? And when the first time I saw him, he was beating the hell out of Asuka.
Yes.
That was
of course.
Crazy. It was so brutal. I'm like, what the hell am I watching, man? Again, more real than reality. It was
so in a tag
rough.
team match, a mixed tag match.
It just beat the living hell out of her. It was
so
rough.
What do you think about? I mean, what was going on there?
Well, Asuka is tough, and she asked for it. You know, she wanted to pay her dues, and she wanted to make a show, and that's what it was. I mean, it was a brutal, brutal, brutal show. And I'm sure she's feeling it, or she felt it a few days later. You know?
Oh yeah.
Heck, maybe she's still feeling it now. I don't know. But
for a guy like Suzuki to do that, you know, I mean, the guy.
Well, look at him. He looks like a beast. He looks so mean. He's the perfect person to do that. Like if you took like a Matt Jackson, it wouldn't work. You know, you need a ruthless looking dude. You know, not a pretty guy.
He's not just ruthless looking. He's legit. Like from what I understand, Suzuki takes the young boys before the shows and spars with them like it's MMA. He just beats the shit out of guys. And he was part of the old Pancrase. He tapped Ken Shamrock in like 1994.
Oh, yeah?
Like he's legit as they come.
Yeah.
There's a video on YouTube of Josh Barnett talking about Suzuki, saying how legit his grappling is. And if you don't know, Josh Barnett's a former UFC heavyweight champion, one of the best grapplers on the planet. So Suzuki's super legit. That's what I like about. That's my kind of wrestler, a guy who's super legit, who can not only have some great matches, but can also kick your ass for real.
Yeah, I've prided myself on that as well in wrestling. I mean, I'm not going to call out anybody, but I tell you, most people in Quebec wrestling are fucking pussies. And most people in Ontario wrestling are fucking pussies. I will kick almost everyone's fucking ass if they step to me, and that's no joke. I'll look you in the eye and tell you that. They just are. I mean, I like coming from an old school place. I play rugby, I play hockey, I play punch in the face. You know, these type of things where it's just not like that. You know, it's a lot of bubble wrapped people coming out there who can't necessarily take a shot or, you know, don't have a balls to step to. Especially, I don't want to get into this too much because it kind of gets me angry. But people who can't say anything to your face, you know, like if someone has a problem with me or what I do, I'll hear through back channels from promoters or hear through back channels from other people, which in itself is kind of gross, you know, just that back talking and backstabbing and, you know, shit talk. Anyway, whatever. Let's move on from that.
And I'm sure a lot of that goes on in pro wrestling, right?
Yeah, but I guess it's like any employment. You work with different people, and some people like you, some people don't. But the thing about in pro wrestling, if someone doesn't like me, maybe they won't get in the ring with me, you know, or if they if I don't like them and they do get in the ring with me, you know, I'm a pro. I don't hurt anybody. I'm not. I'll never say that. I'll never hurt anyone. But
Yeah.
you know, if someone, I mean, just in real life, if someone talks shit, I'd like to slap him in the face. Simple as that. You know, where I think there's a new generation now. It's more respectful, more new school in the sense that they don't back stuff up with their body. Like if someone, let's say you're operating a federation and someone disses it, you know, to a bunch of people. Why are they doing that? Well, it's going to hurt you in some way, to hurt your promotion. And if you own this promotion, what should you do if someone's trying to hurt you? Well, 30 years ago and on, you kicked their freaking ass. That's what you did, you know. Nowadays, it's not so much like that. I mean, in some ways, it's evolved to a good way, but I just don't like when people can get away with running their mouth too much. You know, if you run your mouth, you got to be able to back it, and I think a lot of people can't. But that's the way life is. Honestly, most people can't back up shit. Most people are full of shit. Most people talk out of their ass. And there's only a few real motherfuckers out there. That's why I don't have that many friends, because real motherfuckers are few and hard to find, you know. And this is weird coming from someone who wears a mask. His name is Green Phantom, but you know, if you know me, you know that, you know, I can probably kick your ass.
Oh, and if you know me, you know that I can also probably kick your ass. But I won't do it because I'm a nice guy, right? We're nice guys.
Yeah,
We're
totally.
not here looking to kick anybody's ass.
I was a doorman forever downtown Montreal, and I had so many opportunities to kick people's asses, but I don't care for violence unless it's really necessary. You know?
That's right. But I do care for violence in the pro wrestling ring, and I think that's where we started with Minoru Suzuki, and he brings that violence. And him and Naito is going to be a crazy match because Naito is one of the best wrestlers in Japan. Yeah. Those two guys going at it for a title.
That's this Saturday, you said?
No, that's coming up April 29th. That's in a little bit.
Okay. Oh, that's in a bit.
Yeah, we got to wait for that. Also on that card, we got Chaos member Switchblade Jay White, Rocky Romero, Sho, and Yo taking on David Finlay, Jushin Liger, Yusuke Taguchi, and Tiger Mask.
Wow, I love Jushin Liger.
He's still going.
Yeah, he's going.
53 years old.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that he's the same age and debuted the same year in pro wrestling as The Undertaker.
Wow.
I mean, that's a long time going.
Mark Callis. Mark Callis.
And you look at how often Jushin wrestles and I mean, the mobility that he has compared to Undertaker. Yeah. It's amazing that Liger's still able to do it, you know? Wrestling the same amount of time, same age, smaller guy, doesn't have the same frame to carry around, obviously, but it's crazy that he's still going at the level that he's going at. He's still great.
Yeah.
He had a match with Will Ospreay at that Strong Style Evolve show. It was fantastic.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure and that's a Will Ospreay. He's getting better because he's wrestling guys like that who can help him out, you know. To know that he's not just a flyer when it's always be a huge part of who he is, but you need more than just to be able to do flippity flips to excel, and he's getting there really well. Like he's evolved. He can do a lot now, and he knows a lot more than he did even just a few years ago. You know, like him and what's Prince Puma? What's his name?
Ricochet.
Ricochet, yeah.
Who's now in NXT? Who's gonna be in a ladder match with like Adam Cole and a bunch of guys this Saturday on that pre-WrestleMania show.
Okay. Well, the thing about him, they were against each other. The internet blew up because of their sequences, right? Now, no matter, they were good and all that, but the thing is, they weren't learning enough from each other because they're both young dudes, you know? And because they're both young dudes, they don't have the experience to rub off on each other. They're just kind of two guys learning.
Yeah.
You know, they're both amazing. Don't ever misquote me in saying, but they can be better, both of them, and they'll get better by wrestling different people and older people, you know. So I say this because Will Ospreay, I can just imagine how much he learned from Liger, you know.
Well, I think that even as you get older and you may lose some of that mobility, you can still improve as a pro wrestler. I think AJ Styles today, at 40 years of age, is better than he was maybe 10 years ago when he was in TNA.
I agree. I mean, even me, not to bring myself back in here. It's just a point of reference. Is that compared to 10 years ago, even though I'm older, so less physically able to do stuff, but I'm more able to be a wrestler because I'm, I've learned so much from different people over the years and have honed my craft, if you will. So.
It's not about what you do necessarily, but it's when and how you do it.
Exactly. And as you get older, and I mean that's in all walks of life.
And a lot of people, accuse the Young Bucks of being guys that just kind of flip around and high fly. But you see this match and the story that they told with Kenny and Kota Ibushi. It's really beyond that, right?
Yeah, it's way beyond
It's
that.
a high level of professional wrestling. It's the art of professional wrestling at its highest level.
Yeah, and and them too. They're constantly getting better too. I find. When I watch their matches, they still have the elements who they are as the Young Bucks, but they're getting better all the time, which is it's cool to watch. And you should if you're an artist and you're good at your art or you want to be better, you should be getting better.
Exactly.
You don't want to stagnate.
You always want to be evolving. Speaking of always getting better, Cody Rhodes. I mean, look at where this guy was.
Wow.
3 years ago, and now where he is. He's going to be wrestling Kota Ibushi on Wrestling Dontaku the first night, May the 3rd. So it'll be Cody versus Ibushi one-on-one in a rematch from their match that they had at Wrestle Kingdom, which is going to be pretty good too. Cody, he's been doing some incredible things in this run post WWE. Everything that he's really doing has been golden. The promos,
really golden.
Everything, the hair, everything. He's
really, really.
He
golden.
is fantastic
he
right now,
is.
and the wrestling, the matches, he is doing things that you've never seen him do before. He's really trying to do go the extra mile every match he's out there because he knows there's a lot of pressure. There's guys like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And Marty Scurll, and he's hanging with these guys. And Hangman Page had a ridiculous match with Jay White for the U.S. title on that Sakura Genesis show. Or was that Strong Style Evolved? I don't know. There have been so many New Japan shows, it's hard to keep track. But no, that was on the Strong Style Evolved. But Cody is up there, and he's got to compete.
Such a decision. It was at the time definitely people doubted what he was doing. Asking for his release and stuff, and. With his dad being there forever and stuff, but now he made the best decision of them all, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Very impressive stuff from Cody. Let's take a look quickly at the Bullet Club Bullet Club matches for the 6-man tag, which I always like a 6-man tag title. They have belts over there. Bad Luck Fale, Tamatonga, and Tangaloa taking on Marty Scurll, Matt, and Nick Jackson. That should be an excellent match, and that's going to be on Dontaku Night 1.
Night 1. There's 3 nights? Is that?
3. Well, it's like 2 nights of Dontaku on May 3rd and 4th, and then April 29th is Wrestling Hino Kuni, and that's when you have Suzuki against Naito in the main event. The main event of Dontaku Night 1 will be Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega, and the main event for Dontaku Night 2 will be Kazuchika Okada defending the title against Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay supposed to be on that card to defend the title against Kushida.
I think Hangman Page is someone we should watch in the future.
I think he's one of the most underrated guys in all of New Japan. Every time he's out there, he just does crazy stuff. We will recap that when we reconvene for the next episode.
And when we reconvene, I will be more prepared, I promise.
This is just the first episode, man.
Episode.
Getting to know you, getting to know
who
you are. That's right. Getting to know your singing voice. Keep going. We're not done.
I'm good.
Keep singing. All right. So your dog has enjoyed this episode as well.
I think so. He's been biting my hand the whole time.
All right. This will be up on Wrestling Uncensored, WrestlingUncensored.net. Follow me on Twitter at Dave Simon MMA. Check out our YouTube channel as well. Where can people find you?
Green Phantom. The Green Phantom on Facebook. Green Phantom 514 on Instagram. And go fuck yourself.
And Twitter.
And Twitter, yeah.
We're going to get you on Twitter. We're going to get that
I'm not sure if it's The Green Phantom on Twitter or Green Phantom 514. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out for next time.
Okay. That's it.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening, everybody.